Dear Disc Golf Diary, today I went out for a round at Z-Boas. It's been a while since I've played because of the weather and then I hurt my back, but I'm ready to get back out there for a challenge. It was super windy, so a better day to try and become pros in the wind. Little did I know that the wind was going to be the least of my worries this round, so I take my new toned salt that the Clash Disc sent me early and absolutely rip on it. Maybe a little too hard because in this wind, it was super windy. I turned it over, but that's okay. 2 off the first tee was acceptable because it was windy and I was still a little bit tight. My second tee shot was a little bit better to get my par, but it's still a pump to get to hole 10. I started on the back nine because the course was strangely busy today. Going into the next hole, I wanted to redeem myself after having to take another tee shot on the first hole. And I did just that on this very short but technical par 3. I actually ended up putting my war pig directly underneath the basket to get me started at under par. It's 1 under. This now brings me to hole 12. Hole 12 at Boas is definitely not reachable for the majority of players. I usually end up a little closer than I did off the tee, but I did throw a nice little turnover to grab my par. I love throwing the turnover instead of the sidearm when I can.
And that P3X held up in the wind. Kind of impressive, honestly.
I really don't like sidearms. And the next hole, I didn't realize at the time, but I think this is where my round took a turn for the worse. And when I started making dumb decisions, I threw my MD1 way too hard here. I flipped it up and I hit a tree. I really want a birdie on this hole normally. That's okay though. I love this last part of the course and it's usually where I can get some birdies.
A tree fell down over there, so you gotta go around.
So that's a little disappointing. I ended up just starting back on the front nine, and that threw off my groove a little bit. I know I was disappointed by the bogey because I started throwing angry extra putts. And if my mindset was already slipping, hole 2 at Z-Boas is not one I was going to gain confidence back in. If I don't land on top of that hill at hole 2 at Boas, I'm always disappointed. That fairway is just so tight.
That was crazy. It almost went in.
And thankfully I gave myself an easy par putt, but
had wind. If I start putting like that, maybe I'll make them.
That hole would bring me over par. I know at this point my mindset is in shambles because I'm worried about how the video will turn out. The next few holes are further shots. I can usually get to them on a good day with a great tee shot, but after just getting back into the swing of throwing again, it really wasn't going to happen. I just ended up parring the next few. It took me almost making a far putt around a tree to get my confidence back a little bit. I started to hype myself up.
Told y'all, it's time to do it. Let them start getting it going.
Thinking back, it probably wasn't the best hole for me to try and re-up my confidence in. I have to throw a nice flex shot and a tight technical flex shot through that gap and then skip up the hill. But after my shot rolling all the way down the hill on this hole, I was 2 over par. Not a lot of holes left to secure my score I was hoping for, but there was still a chance. But not if you go too far in the trees off the tee and then leave yourself with a tough knee putt. The extra putts on this hole were a sign of defeat for sure, knowing that I probably wasn't going to be able to reach my goal. I actually just ended up picking up my next drive. It went really far. It was just nowhere near the basket and it wasn't going to get me close to par. Going into the last hole on the course, my mindset was in shambles.
I think this is going to be the last disc golf video on the course I ever make. Every time I turn the camera on, I get so in my head. I'm literally this whole round, I was so ready to not even think about anything, just play around and have a camera recording me. And then throughout the round, I've just been thinking about what the video is going to look like. And literally, I don't think I was thinking about playing disc golf the whole time. That's how it is every video. And I'm always disappointed in how I play. That always makes me disappointed in the video too.
Something extraordinary ended up happening on the last hole. I threw an angry shot. Usually they end up bad, but this one actually ended up really good. I threw it pretty far and really close to the basket, securing me that birdie.
I don't know how bad the round was, but this is what always happens is I think about the video and I want something good. I'm can I get a hole where I throw a good shot, like a good shot? I do it off camera all the time, just because I'm not thinking, and I throw some crazy shots that I've never even come close to throwing on camera. And so it didn't really happen, only me to know apparently. I'll try and bring out the camera a little bit more. Maybe I can get out of my head and play a little bit better.
After looking back on the round, I learned something I can benefit from. My mindset was slipping off just a few bad holes. I should have easily gotten pars on most of the holes I got bogeys on. I need to erase my memory after a bad hole. And most importantly, know that when I don't hit my goals, I still shoot pretty good disc golf. Boas is a difficult course, and I couldn't play the holes I was the most confident in getting birdies in. This will just give me something to shoot for. So Z-Boas, this isn't the last you've seen of Throwing with Owen.